I have stuff to say.
You have a lot of stuff to say. I can see a lot of notes.
I'm just kidding.
What?
Can't get that song out of my head.
Hello and welcome to Cruise Next. My name is James Albarn. I'm joined, as always, by Elsa Grace. How are you, Elsa?
I'm good. You threw me. You went right into it.
I went right into it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how we do it around here now in these parts. This is
not talking about how we just recorded 10 minutes of us discussing whether or not to move seats there.
Yes. So if you notice some of the Jesus Christ, Elsa. If you notice some of the outside noise, it is because we are sat outside.
Don't say where. We don't want stalkers.
In a busy bar in the centre of London.
A bar, because that's how we roll.
But we are here. It's a slightly different episode. You may be expecting to listen to us talk about Cruella, but we are currently...
What?
Yeah, we're throwing this episode in. Yeah. This is because we record episodes way before they ever come out. So Elsa's completely lost on where we are in the release schedule.
The last National Treasure would have been the last.
National Treasure was the last one. So you would have been expecting an episode of Cruella if you're a regular listener, but we thought we'd insert this episode in because Barbie and Oppenheimer, it's fair to say, have been a bit of a cultural phenomenon in the last couple of months, and we thought we've both seen Barbie. Elsa's yet to see Oppenheimer.
No, but I did want to say, actually, I have been offered 2 tickets on Friday night for the IMAX to watch it in 70mm.
Oh, really?
So for listeners, I have not seen Oppenheimer because I specifically didn't want to not see it at the BFI IMAX, which is how it was intended by God. But all the tickets were like 1 ticket in 3 weeks' time at 8 a.m. So I didn't do it, but I've just been offered some tickets on Friday night.
I've now seen it twice.
Yeah, but in the IMAX?
Not in the IMAX.
Well,
Yet to see it.
Saying. We can talk about this later.
So we may discuss Oppenheimer at some point, but we have both seen Barbie. We both have things to say about Barbie.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our listeners would appreciate hearing us talk about Barbie, especially those in Sri Lanka, Elsa. For apparently, don't know if this is true, but apparently we are 5th in the podcast charts, in the film review section of the podcast charts in the country of Sri Lanka. So
shut the front door. Is that true?
Apparently so.
Big up Sri Lanka.
So hello to Sri Lanka.
I love Sri Lanka.
I've never been.
I went there. I was there for quite a while. I went on a surfing trip there.
We do have a Sri Lankan restaurant though that we
visit a lot. Sri Lankan food is some of the best food in my opinion. Love Sri Lankan food. Yeah, it's a beautiful country.
So
well, apparently people with excellent taste.
So for the people of Sri Lanka and the rest of the world, Elsa, tell us a little bit about Barbie.
Sure thing. I didn't, do you know what? I sort of think about what I'm going to say in these bits, and I didn't really do that this week because who doesn't know what Barbie is?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know what Barbie is about at this point? But I'll just...
Has it been released in Sri Lanka? That's a good question.
Oh, you Google while I'll do the overview.
How do I Google that?
I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Google, James. Bing will probably have it. So, Barbie. It is the new phenomenon of 2023. Directed by Greta Gerwig and written by Greta and Noah Baumbach. James isn't helping me. I think it's Baumbach. It has been the first, I believe this is correct, the first...
I found screening times for it in Sri Lanka, so it has been released.
It's the first, I believe, female-directed film to gross over I mean, it's currently, gross over $1 billion. It's currently $1.34 billion that it has grossed worldwide, which is astounding, given that its budget, this is an estimate, was around 100 mil.
It also meant that Oppenheimer, which obviously came out same opening weekend.
Same day, man.
Same day, is the highest grossing film to have never been at number one in the box office because of Barbie.
Devastating.
Which is an interesting fact. Yeah,
Sorry,
that's kind
Chris.
of a cool fact as well.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, sorry, I had a bit of a moment where I was thinking about Oppenheimer. Essentially, Barbie follows its titular character, Barbie, as she goes through a sort of self-realization, self-actualization.
Played by Margot Robbie.
And leaves Barbieland to go to, in quotes, the real world. Yeah, played by Margot Robbie. Ken is played by Ryan Gosling. There are many Kens. There are many Barbies.
But only one Alan.
There is only one Alan. There is only one Marge.
Yes.
Who was discontinued.
Yeah.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Ken. Hi, Ken. Hi, Ken. I got us both ice cream. Cool.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
There are no multiples of Alan. He's just Alan.
Yeah, I'm confused about that.
Mattel, who are the creators of Barbie, play the sort of antagonist in this film. The CEO is played by Will Ferrell, who is kind of a Mugatu-esque, very over the top kind of slapsticky character. It is. It's a very campy film, isn't it? And as Mattel learns that Barbie is out in the real world, they try to catch her and send her back to Barbieland before, she's done too much damage and she learns too much about herself in, her own position in the real world.
It's basically the Lego movie.
So, look, there are comparisons with it to the Lego movie, but it's not as gleeful as the Lego movie. This film, I think, it's essentially a feminist manifesto to the point where it almost doesn't have a plot or a narrative because it's so heavily focused on that manifesto, and there's so much time given to one-liners, which are very, very funny. But it's not. Look, you're not going to go there to have a real, brain scratcher, like, wow, what a plot. That's not what this movie is. It's just kind of campy fun. It's very much a don't think too much about it
for me, it's a series of, and this is going to sound like I'm saying it's awful by saying this, but for me, and I'm not, but for me, it's a series of Saturday Night Live sketches stitched together with higher production value and better acting.
I mean, better acting, I don't know, man. Kate McKinnon came from SNL.
True. There is some dodgy acting on SNL from time to time.
Bill Hader came from SNL.
Usually from the guests.
Oh, okay, well, yeah. I'm listing cast members in my head right now that I would fight you with, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Elon Musk was on SNL, we don't need to. Did you not see his episode? Oh, bro.
It's an honor to be hosting Saturday Night Live. I mean that. Sometimes after I say something, I have to say, I mean that. So people really know that I mean it. That's because I don't always have a lot of intonation or variation in how I speak, which I'm told makes for great comedy.
Let's just acknowledge the insane marketing that went behind this. I've never seen anything like that in my whole life. Maybe for
a Star Wars.
Final, right? So things like the final Star Wars or the final Harry Potter or maybe those kind of things. But god damn, it was a lot. There were posters everywhere. There was, the social media filters and stencils of this Barbie, do you remember that?
Yeah.
like billboards, posters, every bus, every targeted ad on social, like it was
And people have been like
everywhere.
dressing up to go see the film.
Which I thought was
Which is
so
cute.
so cute. But like the marketing behind this film, I believe is predominantly why this film has been so successful. I don't know many people now who haven't seen Barbie, and it has not yet come onto streaming platforms or downloadable. Like the fact that it's still in the cinema and almost everyone has seen it is kind of amazing, because we're in Cozy Lives right now. Not, people don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So for everyone to have gone to the cinema and seen that, that's some props to the marketing team, because it's Warner Brothers, right? Like they have the money. But still, I'm very, very impressed.
Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken.
If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Hold my ice cream, Ken. All right, Ken, you're on. Let's beach off.
Anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time.
But you don't even know how to beat yourself off. How are you going to beach both of us off? It doesn't make sense.
Ken?
Why are you getting emotional?
You're going to beach both of us off?
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
Let's just dive into your notes, because I feel like you have a lot to say.
Can you see all the arrows as
and that
well? Because
will-
it's like stream of consciousness.
That will probably prompt me
Okay.
off the back of that.
So
It'll be interesting to see if we agree or if we don't.
I mean, look, okay, there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, but there's not. I only wrote about a couple of things in my notes, but something that I wrote down, like, which I think is important to acknowledge first and foremost, is as much as I was like, it's just a feminist manifesto, there's no real narrative to this film, like, I don't believe that someone as genius as Greta Gerwig would make a film about Barbie and not do it in a way that is acknowledging Barbie's paradox, which is the fact that she is supposed to be this figure of aspiration, not inspiration. She is, whatever she wants to be, and she is empowering and feminist, and, means also, play and the kind of childlike joy that comes with toys and imagination and all of that stuff. But then also she is literally the symbol of capitalism and very shallow, puddle-deep feminism. And, the slim, platinum blonde, high-heeled, leggy lady is oppressive to many women. And, like, she acknowledges that all the way through the film, to the point where it actually... I got a little bit like, oh my God, we get it. Let's just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? There's, the moment where, is it Helen Mirren, the narrator? It is, isn't it? Yeah. She breaks the fourth wall. Yeah. She says, Margot Robbie is not the person to cast to producers if you want to make the point of, I'm not pretty enough anymore.
Which is a fantastic joke.
Fantastic joke. Everyone laughed. I laughed. But my point is that, like, that acknowledging the paradox of Barbie, I feel, is the majority of the film, in a way that I feel like you could have got away with doing it a little bit at the start, and then you could have walked away from it. You could have acknowledged it. But I read a very interesting article in The Guardian, and I wish I had written down the writer. I think it was Adrian Horton, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me. Who sort of mentioned the paradox and said called it lip service to the baggage of Barbie, which I thought was really eloquently written, and that you do kind of have to pay that, but like lip service in the sense that, like, talking about your faults absolves you of the faults in that sense. So it's like, because we are, doing this lip service of talking about Barbie's paradox, it's okay now. Whereas actually, there are a lot of people, I'm sure, would still say that, like, this film is hugely capitalistic. Did you know that Mattel was a co-producer of this film?
Of course, yeah.
So
They
they
would be.
made a shitload of money off the film, not even talking about all of the product placements that they put in this film, which means they now have over 100 Barbie product deals with various different brands. They have over 45 Mattel toy films now in pre-production. Apparently J.J. Abrams is potentially signed up to do an Uno film. They have a Hot Wheels film going. They have a Polly Pocket film that is potentially going to be directed by Lena Dunham. Like, Mattel are so unbelievably clever in how they have played this, that they've really like satirized their own company of like the kind of polar opposite to Barbieland. Like, it's very gray and evil and white old men, and and they've really like made themselves look awful to make Barbie look better, knowing that all of the jokes that are hitting against them and capitalism are actually serving them and capital. Like, it's so good, it's so clever, and it kind of bummed me out. And goddamn, I'm that person now that's taken a really like joyful, fun film and been like, oh, about capitalism, which like I don't like being that person. But for me, like that's a big part of, like, for me, context of filmmaking is important in films.
Do you think that diminishes what Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach are trying to say with the film, when you know whom it benefits?
Oof. Do you want me to solve world hunger while I'm at it, James? I don't know.
Do you think that makes it like when Greta Gerwig sits there and says what the film's about and what they wanted to do with the film and the meaning behind it and how they struggled with that sort of dynamic, do you kind of look at that and go, yeah, but it's benefiting?
Well, that's it, right?
Satirizing.
Yeah. So
And they know that.
I would say it doesn't necessarily dampen your enjoyment of it. Like, I can still enjoy the film as like a nice.
No, I'm sure.
It's a
and this
very.
is what
It's
this
you know
is-
it's
this
warm
is
and
what
fluffy
this is
and.
about. Like,
Yeah.
the whole thing is to pick apart things and like.
Yeah, like I think that I can only speak personally. I would still enjoy the film, but it slightly dampens. Like, I am not affected by. I have friends who, during Gloria, who's played by America Ferrera's, her big speech of what it takes to be a woman and how tired she is of women being picked apart and made to feel like they have to do so much in order to achieve so little, and you have to be funny but not too funny that you're threatening, and you have to that speech. Great speech. Like, I think she's an incredible actor. But I wasn't that super moved by it. It didn't really affect me that much. And I have friends who, cried at that scene. It meant so much to them. And I feel a little bit jaded, I think, because of the whole, Mattel input. And
I think also to comment on that scene specifically, I've heard a lot of different versions of the argument around that scene about, some people loving it, some people thinking that they don't necessarily disagree with any of the things that is being said in that scene, but that it's kind of, for want of a better phrase, a bit like tote bag feminism. Like, some people say like, yeah, we've kind of been saying this for like years,
right?
And that's not. And then I hear some people say, well, sure, for the people that have been saying it for years, that scene isn't for them. It's for the people who haven't heard that before, or
right.
who haven't. I saw this is not a good example because it's anecdotal. I've just seen it on TikTok, but I saw a video of this woman who took her mum to Barbie, and her mum cried at that scene because she'd never heard that.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And then there's also maybe the point as well that scene. I've heard some people argue that scene's not even for the audience, even though I'm not sure I necessarily agree, but that scene is actually, it's teaching the character of Barbie about feminism. It's not teaching the audience about feminism.
Right.
So it has to be boiled down to the basics, because if you were telling someone who had never heard of the patriarchy before what it was, or what it is like to be a woman in the real world when you've never been to the real world, then you would boil it down to its simple messaging.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting scene, because I've heard a lot of people argue different things.
It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary. But somehow we're always doing it wrong. Like, you have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money, because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women, because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood, but always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged, so find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all of that is also true for a doll, just representing a woman, then I don't even know.
I think for me, talking as a Ken, I thought the only thing that I would criticise it for is it's a bit heavy-handedly written. I think it's a bit. It does feel a little bit like we're just going to pause the movie now to bring you this important message, and
that was the whole movie to me.
And I think that there could have been I would like to have seen that shown in a different way. Now, I think we talked about this before, like we sort of did a little bit of a chat.
We try not to talk about films
when we first saw it. Before we sort of decided we were going to do a chat about this, we sort of said about how it would have been nice to have been shown, like there's that old sort of cliche in storytelling about show not tell, and about like, would it be nice to have maybe seen that speech shown through the film in different ways,
right?
Or maybe I think you had the idea of maybe it's presented as like as a product pitch at the Mattel factory, like
someone could be pitching. Actually, do you know what? This is super close to an SNL sketch.
Right.
That had oh my god, it was Donald Glover's week.
Oh, okay.
And they're at Mattel and they're pitching like new Barbies.
Right.
And they like show pictures of Barbie and she's like holding a phone and everyone's like, what do you think she's thinking? And people are like, she's calling her girlfriend to ask when they can go for iced lattes or something. And then Donald Glover's character is, she answers the phone. She doesn't recognize the voice. The voice says, I can see you, Barbie. I can see the real you. And Mattel's like, no. Barbieland is nice.
And last year, we launched her very popular Instagram account, which allows her to connect with her fans online. Now, you three will be helping out with the captions.
Why don't we give it a try?
What would be a fun caption for this post, Tamra?
Love my juice and my chocolate bar.
That's not a chocolate bar. It's a clutch.
It's fine. You, what would you write here?
I'm holding a chocolate bar.
I swear to God.
Michael, sweetie, he just told you it's a clutch.
Oh, then. Oh no, I forgot my clutch.
She's holding the clutch.
Oh, then where's her chocolate bar?
There never was one.
All right, never mind. What about you?
I can't shake the image of that girl getting hit by that car. 4 years ago outside of my dream house. Anyway, I was holding a chocolate bar like this one.
Listen to me, boy. Barbie never witnessed such a thing. That sort of thing does not happen outside of Barbie's house.
Bernard, calm down. It's okay. We'll do another picture, all right?
And so that was kind of my idea that, like, it would be some kind of pitch with Will Ferrell at Mattel, and he's, they're like, Barbie's gonna be independent. And he's like, yeah, but not too independent. Like, she still needs Ken. And they're like, okay. And they're like, and she's gonna be funny. And he's like, okay, but not, it's not funnier than Ken, though. That kind of, like, I felt like it could have maybe been delivered in a slightly softer way. But you know what? That scene means so much to so many people, and I do get it. I think for me, though, it was, it's another kind of paradox of the film where, like, they really kind of lean into, like, the stereotypical Barbie is, like, found by many girls to be oppressive and anti-feminist, which, the daughter, Gloria's daughter, Sasha, literally, tears her apart in the school.
Did you realise the thing with the school that I didn't know until afterwards?
I don't know.
So the daughter and all her friends, she has like 3 friends sitting with her, and they're the ones that all tear into Barbie. They're the Bratz. Do you remember the Bratz dolls?
Oh, yeah. Well, do you think I watched the Bratz movie?
No, I don't know.
So, no, I don't know who they are.
No, I remember the Bratz. I never saw it, but, like, I remember the Bratz dolls.
Oh, my God, I remember the dolls, but I don't remember the...
Yeah, so the Bratz, there were like 4 of them. And if you look at the friends, they all
Oh, you mean it's not the actors from the Bratz film?
No. They're like representing they all look like the Bratz, and they're all named after a Bratz doll, and that's why they
Was
hate
there a doll
Barbie.
called Sasha?
I think so, yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, people.
Oh, Jesus. Did Mattel also make Bratz? Google it. I have to know. What the hell?
And that's why
good.
And that's why they all hate Barbie.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, like, how they acknowledge that fact about Barbie, and they're like, yeah, we know all this. Like, we know that
Bratz is Mattel.
We know that's, like, unbelievable. We know that, that's Barbie and that she's anti-feminist and blah, blah, blah. But America Ferrera's speech is groundbreaking, and we didn't know this. Like, it was a bit flip-floppy on that. But again, this film, I don't believe is meant to be, like, a head-scratcher. Like, it's supposed to be...
It's not a subtle film.
No, don't think too hard. Don't think too hard.
There is nothing subtle about it.
Yeah, and to be honest, they really do cover all their bases. Like, at the start of the film, I think it's at the start, they go, Barbie, if you love her or if you hate her, this film is for you. Yeah. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Who doesn't fall into one of those categories? If you are breathing, this film is for you. What you didn't answer. What was your, like, how does that make you feel about the film? Does it change how you feel about the film at all? That Mattel are, just rinsing the hell out of people?
I think it's an unfortunate fact of the cinematic landscape at the moment, in that pretty much every film is based on a intellectual property or a book or a comic, or there's very few original, in inverted commas, films out there, and so it is kind of an unfortunate truth of the sort of landscape of film at the moment. And there's no way that I think Mattel, as much as you don't necessarily want to give credit to a big corporation, I think they deserve credit for someone at Mattel has their head screwed on correctly, because it would have been very easy. I mean, this Barbie film has been bouncing around for fucking years.
Has it?
It was originally, there was originally a version where Anne Hathaway was playing Barbie and had a different director on board. Then there was a good few years where Amy Schumer was supposed to be playing Barbie and like being involved in the writing and directing of it. And then eventually it landed at Margot Robbie's doorstep, for want of a better word, and then she was the one that brought in Greta Gerwig. And so it's clearly taken them a long time to get the tone right of what this film would be. And I think they do deserve credit for taking the piss out of themselves, but
yeah,
it's an
I
incredibly
mean, everyone
good
does
thing.
kind of, you know, in this film. Like, fucking, let's talk about Ryan. Let's talk about Ryan Gosling in this. And shame on all those people who said he was too old to play Ken.
Some people are still saying it. I was at a party the other week and someone was like, I didn't really like Ryan Gosling in it because he's just too old to play Ken.
How old is Ken? Ken is a doll. Shut the fuck up. Jesus, what a stupid thing to say. Ryan Gosling is perfection in this film.
Also, like, he doesn't look old, does he?
He doesn't look old, but he looks like a man who has lived a life. And I don't mean to say he's weathered. I just mean he doesn't look like he's 18.
To be fair, he would look weathered. His job is beach, and he hasn't got a home.
His job is beach.
So.
But do you know what? I kind of think that's the point. Like, Greta really subverted a lot of those stereotypes in this film, and like the fact that maybe the super, young looking, she looks like plastic in this film in a really beautiful way. Young, hot women. I forgot what I was talking about because I just started thinking about Margot Robbie. What was I talking about?
About Ken looking older than Barbie.
Oh,
And
right,
maybe
that
that
he
was
is like a toy boy. He's playing like a toy boy who wears all these ridiculous things. Like, isn't that kind of the point, that Barbie can have like a toy boy that she can throw away if she wants?
Also,
and,
as well,
is
like,
not interested
who else are you casting? I think you've also got to think about like realistic thing of like, we've got to cast this film.
Okay, you can't cast Ryan. Tell me who you would cast.
Well, see, this is the thing. Like, you've got to pick someone who can pull off the look of Ken. You've got to cast someone who can do comedy well and can give you some acting chops when you sort of need it.
Him crying tore me up.
Yeah. So
like, I welled up.
Because
that broke my heart.
And also they've kind of got to be. The unfortunate truth of it is they've kind of got to be a huge box office name, which Ryan Gosling is. And so then you're kind of working to quite a limited scope of people.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought we don't need to think about alternative casting because I thought that he was perfect.
Oh, hey. You've caught me reading.
Oh, I've been thinking. Kenland?
Kendom.
Kendom.
Kendom Land.
Land of
the free and the men.
Right. Well, this place
Kendom
is
Land.
really great. And the Kens really are just better at ruling than the Barbies ever were.
Well, we just took patriarchy and, made a patriarchy.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking.
Yes?
I'm ready to be your long-term, distance, low-commitment, casual girlfriend, if you'll still have me.
You just hold on for 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Sublime! I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Oh. Please?
Okay. Come on in. I'll play the guitar at you.
Oh, yay!
I have to mention another favourite bit of mine. When the when Rhea Perlman turns up as the ghost
Handler.
of Ruth Handler, and
Yeah.
they keep mentioning her tax issues.
I thought that was funny.
It's really good.
Don't talk about it. We don't need to talk about it. I thought it was very good. It's a hard one, isn't it? Because no one's going to know who Ruth Handler is before this film comes out. So when they introduce her as the kind of the oracle to the Matrix.
It was very Matrix. It was Neo finding the Oracle, wasn't it? Because it was even in a similar sort of room. It was a clear reference.
Why do they have Ruth Handler living in a fake kitchen in the dungeons of Mattel?
Will Ferrell said her ghost stalks the.
She is the ghost. So she is the ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I thought that. Yeah, but it's a difficult one when you know your audience is not going to know who this woman is, to integrate her in a way that is very poignant to the plot and to the characters. And I think that actually Noah and Greta did that super well.
I think for me, the only problem is I feel like that's a moment in which I feel like that sort of Billie Eilish montage of the crew and stuff with Rhea Perlman there. That feels to me like a moment where you're supposed to cry as an audience. And
I didn't. Did you?
I didn't cry at all, unless it was crying laughing. But
look at those home videos, fucking hilarious.
But just because of the lack of plot, of substantial plot, it felt like I never really emotionally connected to the film as much as I would have liked.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. There was one moment that I teared up in, and it was when Barbie is crying, because oh my god, Margot Robbie face. Yeah. The face, she's so...
Can we just talk about how perfect choice for this film, Margot Robbie.
I will say that moment where she is crying on the floor and she says, "I'm not smart enough, and I'm not pretty enough anymore." That really got me. I thought that was a really lovely moment, and I did tear up. But then Miriam breaks the fourth wall, and everyone laughed, and that moment was over. That's fine. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I didn't feel like I was kind of connected to it emotionally enough to really be moved by those moments. I think
also as well, it's sometimes the nature of these sort of comedies is that sometimes they don't let those moments breathe enough because they want to undercut it with a joke. And that's not even really a criticism, because if you came up with that Margot Robbie joke, you're putting it in the film because it's funny and it gets a big laugh. But you also feel like you could have just lingered.
Just give me 3 seconds more.
On Margot for a bit, and it just would have hit a little bit more.
Yeah. Sorry, so you were saying the perfect casting?
Yeah, I mean,
Margot.
Is there anything Margot Robbie cannot do?
So, and I had someone recently ask me this on set. They were like, "Elsa, Margot Robbie produced this film, but then is Barbie. So how did that work?" And I was like, yes, she cast herself. That is what happened.
Yes.
But there was a conversation. There's always a conversation. There was a moment between Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig where Margot was like, "I don't have to be Barbie, that, right? I'm super happy just being a part of this project." And Greta was like, "You are, no."
But also as well, to be fair as well, maybe she was attached to star as Barbie, and then part of the deal was she got to produce it. If she was going to be attached to play it,
no, I think it was the other way around.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
From what I've read and from what I've heard in interviews. But do you know what? I have seen self-casted roles in films that I won't go into that are so poor, so bad.
My favourite ones as well are when people write their own movies that they then star in, usually men, who then happen to have a sex scene with the most beautiful actress in Hollywood at the time.
Are you talking about Tommy Wiseau?
I'm not, but that is a good point. But that happens a lot.
Yeah, and do you know what? I trust the genius, masterminds of the women behind this film, that they knew exactly what they were doing with casting Margot. It was not. It wasn't a rash decision. It wasn't a bad decision.
No,
I don't think they needed to look any further than Margot's doorstep.
It was a perfect decision.
Oh my God. All of the expressions and it's not a blank face expression. It's very hard to do that face and maintain it. Like I think it was actually an incredibly difficult role, and she just nailed it. She nailed it. She's so good.
It's you. You're Ruth from Mattel.
Baby, I am Mattel. Until the IRS got to me, but that's another movie.
So you're...
Ruth Handler, inventor of Barbie.
That's so cool.
Her ghost keeps an office on the 17th floor.
What? You guys, do you think the lady who invented Barbie looks like Barbie? I'm a 5'0" grandma with a double mastectomy and tax evasion issues. Nobody looks like Barbie. Except, of course, Barbie. Take a bow, honey.
I liked Barbie.
Yeah, do you want to rate Barbie out of 5?
Mojo Dojo Castle Houses?
Yes.
I think I probably rate it like a 4.6. Because I did think it was excellent, but it's just like void of a good plot,
I'd give it
narrative. But we didn't talk about this at all, but I do want to say I am massively marking it up because the production design on this film was so exquisite.
Film, yeah.
Oh my God, it was so
There was shots as well, like there were like these shots where like Margot Robbie would be driving in her car and it'd be like an aerial shot of the car. And I was genuinely looking at it going, is that Margot Robbie in the car or is that a Barbie doll? Like it's
so good.
It's really clever.
To the point where everything in Barbieland was designed to be about 23% smaller than the human actors, because in real life Barbie play, that is like the car is slightly too small. That it was so unbelievable perfect.
I would give it
the water in the pool of the house not being real. The shower not having
the shower not having water. Her floating down.
Oh my God!
I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I think I had a lot of fun with the film. I think it loses a point just because, like we said, the plot's a bit thin on the ground, but do you care when you're watching it?
No.
Really? It's great fun. You have a great time. There's so many, I was consistently laughing all the way through the film.
A moment also for Gloria's husband when it pans to him and he's at home on Duolingo.
Yeah.
Oh, that killed me.
And
also,
Alan.
her real life husband.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Alan.
We didn't talk about Alan.
We didn't talk about Alan.
Being the kung fu hero that he is, in that moment where he's like, I'm never going to leave this place.
And actually, my favourite bit in the whole film is when Will Ferrell steps out of a house and sees Marge, the discontinued
like,
pregnant Barbie.
Sorry, Marge. Yeah. Apparently, is that Alan's baby, the Alan and Marge?
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then also Alan is Ken's buddy and they just happen to fiddle the same clothes. Right. Like, we don't need to go into it anymore, but I'm sad.
There's also so many Barbies that like in Ken's that I didn't know existed. Like Rob Brydon is like the
We're coming. Okay.
Rob Brydon is like the sugar daddy Ken.
Oh yeah.
Right. We're getting kicked out of here, so we'll wrap up.
To end the podcast.
Yeah, that's our thoughts on Barbie. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Regularly scheduled programming will resume.
Yeah. What's up, Sri Lanka? Hope you're well.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.